open session at 7:49 p.m. Just to report back on matters that were discussed during closed session. During item 3A1, there was discussion. During item 3B, there was discussion and no action was taken during closed session. We will move on now to item number 4. Nope, that was number 4. We will move on to item number 5, which is from the floor. So during this time, this is when the public can address the board on any matters that are not agendized or that aren't being discussed on this agenda. I will note that during this time, the board will not make comment or give direction as this isn't an agendized item, but we will make sure that staff follows up on matters that are of request. So do we have any speakers for item number 5?
Through the chair, yes. Process is I just call the first person.
Yes.
Okay, so David Salgado. And just a minute, David, let me find Mr. Salgado, let me find the start button. All right.
Okay. Hello, my name is David Salgado. I've been working for the district for 10 years. I'm an AV technician, also a CSEA member. The tech department was one of the essential departments that worked on the following, or the front lines during the height of the pandemic. As a department, we had to rush to provide all the staff and students with laptops and hotspots for home use. It was an extremely challenging and overwhelming for our department. Because of the shortage of equipment, I took the initiative to fix broken laptops, repair missing keys, and replace broken screens to make sure that we had enough equipment for everyone. Even times there were large lines of people waiting for laptops and hotspots. At the same time, I repaired equipment for students. I even trained one of my colleagues in transportation to help fix laptops just to keep up with the demand. I have worked over and beyond my duties of my position. I have gone into ceiling crawl spaces in every school to run network cables without proper safety equipment. I've used my personal tools and installed equipment around the district. We have built a data closet in 106, which we sheetrock, mud tape, spray textured, and painted the entire room, which is not in our job description. The IT department has completed work that should have been outsourced that has benefited the district. Honestly, I feel unappreciated for all the hard work that I have done when we are only being offered 2% increase per year. Whatever happened to Ravenswood? Thank you for your time.
All right. Next speaker is, forgive the pronunciation, Jennifer Mose. I got it.
Esteemed board members, hello. My name is Jennifer Mose, and I'm here representing transportation, a fleet of 11 drivers, 4 school bus drivers, 7 van drivers, 4 school bus drivers that transport 500 children from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to 27 bus stops every morning, 7 van drivers that transport 43 sped students every day, plus field trips, after-school athletics, weekend trips for an estimated 240 days a year, rain, shine, storm, flood, or pandemic. Every day we risk our health, family's health, and the health of the students and their families to ensure that all of our students have safe access to and from home. Their education and safety is our priority. 90% of our drivers live in the community. They drive in, so they are our kids. That means all of us and all of you know that our income does not match the cost of living. So it's not about the money, it's about the community. I don't need to educate everyone on the demographics of our region, but to add context to my comments tonight, I'd like to share my pronouns, the inequity and the unfairness we feel. We all know Ravenswood District is one of the county's most underpaid academic staff. Before I continue, please note that the transportation and campus leadership, down to teachers, are allies in the work we do every day. On Thursday, November 18th, this school board voted to increase teacher salaries by 10%, 5-0 vote. As much as we believe they are deserving, we feel equally that a pay increase should also be applied to transportation. We are overworked, underpaid, and drivers feel neglected and invisible when decisions are being made that impact them, whether indirectly or directly, such as this one. Transportation is asking the school board tonight to work with CSEA to also give transportation a 10% increase. We truly believe that our work is equally important as teachers. Together, we impact the lives of the children of this community.
Thank you.
In the words of Ravenswood, the slogan they like to use, one Ravenswood.
Thank you. Just a reminder to the public that you're giving an allotted time. So once the ringer does ring, we ask that you wrap up your comments. Thank you. Next speaker.
Kimberly Cheadle Avila.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Cheadle Avila, and I am a 23-year employee of the district. While I have served in a variety of roles over my time in the district, my current role is operations coordinator. I am standing before you to request that myself, along with all of the classified employees, be given a 10% increase, just as the teachers are being given. I, along with many colleagues, have worked on campus during the pandemic. We, the classified employees, have consistently demonstrated dedication and commitment to making sure that the school sites were taken care of. As a result of our presence on school sites, children and families have been supported. We have been constant in the midst of the pandemic, including serving as a food resource, COVID information resource site, providing phone coverage, and ensuring campuses have maintained safety and cleanliness requirements. Oftentimes, placing our own families at risk of exposure and contracting COVID. This is not about teachers versus classified employees. This is about fairness and equity and needing to be upheld as valuable employees. We are the glue that holds the schools together, and we demand that we are treated with the dignity and respect by being granted the same 10% pay increase as the teachers. We too need to make a living to survive and care for our families. You have the power to show us that we are important and that you care for us. I ask that you do so immediately. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Bill Carell.
Good evening. I've been your makerspace instructor at Castaño Elementary for the past 6 years. And while I applaud your efforts to close the salary gap for credentialed teachers, what I'd like to say is that the classified workers in this district work extremely hard. They are extremely dedicated. They spend a lot of time with our students, and their input and their efforts should be rewarded, and they should be taken care of. I know you guys have tremendous responsibilities, And it's very difficult to fund everything that is needed in this community and with our school. But they are such an important part of the fabric of our school community. I've been fortunate to, in my past careers, it doesn't matter if I get a 4% raise or a 2% raise. But I know that it's extremely important to the people that I work with in their classified positions. And I hope that you can find some way to give them the raise they deserve. Thank you.
Jorge Prado.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, administrators, and all my brothers and sisters from CSCA. They're here. My name is Jorge Prado. I'm a 29 years employee in different positions. I'm a classified employee. And I have to thank God that I'm here right now because I almost paid the ultimate price for serving the front line. I was almost died from COVID. I was really bad. As a result of being on the front line at risk all the time, helping the public. And I don't regret all the days that I'm here and work for Ravenswood. But I also think that it's unfair that we don't get the 10% as a teachers. If we get monies from somewhere for the teachers, we should equally share those to the classified also. It is risky to say that we are one Ravenswood, but we don't include or fully include the classified employees, which are very important, no doubt about it, because you can see that if everybody shell in their houses or other places, we are here. We don't have any way to run. We are here every day, taking kids to school, taking care of them, taking care of the office, and we're happy to do that. But I think at the same time that we deserve equal treatment as we treat the teachers. I didn't see a lot of difficulty to give them the raise, but for us there's a lot of problem, and that's, I don't think it's fair. We deserve the same treatment. Thank you very much.
Yolanda White.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Yolanda White. I am born and raised in East Palo Alto. I've been an employee for Ravenswood for 25 years. I know that every CSDA member here gives their all every day. We were front and center during COVID. I even had to be a COVID tester when it was added to my duties. We all go above and beyond and need to know that we are appreciated. A lot of students have deeper bonds with us more than teachers and other certificated people because they know we care as well. Every welcome back, yearly, we hear it takes a village. Teachers are one part, but when you add bus drivers, food service, secretaries, paras, campus relations, librarians, custodians, then it becomes a village. In order to say one Ravenswood, we need the same 10% as teachers. Also, the pay scale and steps for CSCA, sucks. But I'm gonna give you an example. After being a dedicated employee for 25 years, I make the same pay as someone who has worked here for 8 years because the scales stop and I'm maxed out. But the teachers can continue to climb steps. So again, that is not one Ravenswood. As board members, we need you to visit our schools and see how hard we work because we love our community and students. We all need you to see that we teach, love, counsel, nurture our students as well. The cost of living, food, rent, gas makes it impossible for us to survive or accept the 4% offered. It is a slap in the face. When you do the math, it's about $1.25 and less for some employees. If you compare the teacher CSCA turnover ratio yearly, it shows that we're in it for the long haul.
Thank you.
Teachers
Sorry.
come,
Thank
I'm
you.
almost done.
Sorry.
They make
Thank
tenure.
you. Next speaker.
Okay, can somebody give me one? I only got one sentence.
Sorry, we don't combine time also. It's a policy. Sorry. Thank you.
Next speaker is, and again, I apologize if I say this wrong. It says Bro Tala. Is it Brother Tala? I thought that's what it might have been, was Brother Tala.
Is it okay to take off my mask? My name is Brother Tala. I'm here in the sport and I stand with my brothers and sisters from CSEA classified workers for 10% increase in pay, just like the teachers. We are not comparing ourselves to the teachers. We're here to say that our work and our ethics speak for themselves. And to offer the teachers 10% and to offer classified workers 4%, it's disrespectful. If you're going to increase the pay of the teachers by 10% and offer classified workers 4%, it's not right. And we're here to let our voice be heard. Before the pandemic and during the pandemic, we work, classified workers, CSEA classified workers, work side by side with the teachers and the administration, do it all to this day. On Zoom and sometimes in person. We were there. And we're united on this matter. We're not divided. We're all in for this.
Just to note
There's not one of us in this room that approves of being offered 4% while the teachers being offered 10%. If you believe that the teachers deserve 10% because they're underpaid, you have to understand that classified workers, CSEA classified workers, are also underpaid.
Thank you.
Or can I finish?
Sorry, next speaker.
Opal Akalate.
And just to highlight to the public, let's refrain from side comments during speakers at this time. Thank you. Next speaker.
Opal Okalate. Is Opal here?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Opal, again, for the mispronunciation.
That's quite all right. You haven't been here long enough. You get it like I used to tell my children. To the board, superintendent, my brothers and sisters. My name is Opal Okikiati. I am retired. I retired in 2016 after starting 1975 to 2016. So when they're talking about inequality, I know what they're talking about. When you offer someone one thing and you offer someone else, no. You know, there's three types of payment. One is pay before the service, like when you get on a bus or when you buy your airline tickets or cruise tickets. There's another one where you pay after the service. Restaurant, you pay after the service. When you buy clothes, you bring them up and you pay after. And then there's a type of payment that's called NPA, no payment at all. Our classified They bring the children to school. They make sure the schools are clean. They make sure they get their meals. They're with these children in bubbles. They watch them on the playground. They make sure the bathrooms are sanitized and clean. They do the testing. And they bring home the highest positive rate back to their families. And you say, we'll give you 4%. That's no payment at all. And if we're one, make it one. Thank you.
Randy Jackson, Senior.
Good evening, Superintendent, Board, administrators that are here. Just quickly, as you can see, we're a member-driven organization and member-driven union. And I mainly wanted everyone to have an opportunity to be heard, right? And so that you guys can understand how they feel, because they tell me what they want me to do, and that's what we do. And so the idea is, you have some people here that are so good at what they do and they're so dedicated. And my little experience is this. My daughter asks about them every time I come down here and I go home. And she's been at another school now for 4 years. And these are the people she talks about. So they are the foundation. They are that thing that starts that engine in the morning, right? And I appreciate them, right? Because I can see, while working with other school districts, I can see how hard it is. And to be in an area where it's 5 times higher in the rate of COVID and have multi-generational families. And it hurts you because these are families that we know we've grown up with. And since Saturday, I've already lost 3 people, right? And we know this impact is out there, but they just want to feel like it is one. And I'm really confident that we can do this again. I'm really confident that we'll make this right so we can be that district I always dreamed about as being. Right. And so I just want to tell you guys, I do appreciate you guys, because it's not easy work. Right. But for them, I really appreciate them and what they've done for my daughter. My daughter's working on her 3rd language because of Las Rosas. Right. So it's real. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys very much.
There are no more speakers.
As there are no more speakers, staff, do we have any additional slips? As I see none, I would just like for you all to know that, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for speaking. We, as the board, during this time, we can't speak on anything that is still pending. But we would also like for you to know that this is something that is still in the pipeline. And so Superintendent Sudaria, do you have anything that you would like to?
I do, thank you, through the chair, and to our CSCA unit members, and I don't see you as CSCA unit members, I see you as Ravenswood team members. We are currently in the midst of negotiating in good faith with the executive board of CSCA. Because of the success of the RTA negotiations, we would like to move forward with interest-based bargaining and would like to encourage the CSCA Executive Board to participate in an innovative and collaborative process, like we did with RTA. We provided a proposal to CSCA back in October. We received CSCA's proposal February 7th. You see later this evening, under the agenda item 9AB, that both parties have a collective interest and agreed to reopen Article 7, professional growth. And we are scheduled to meet on Tuesday to continue negotiations with our Ravenswood team members. Although we cannot divulge the details that are shared in negotiations, I want to reassure our brothers and sisters of CSCA that we are working together on something that is fair and comprehensive as one Ravenswood. We are not done. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we will be moving on from the floor, going to our next item, which is the consent agenda. Item number 6 was moved to 12E. So do we have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? As I see none, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 7, the consent agenda.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. We will be moving on to number 8, which is special recognition. So we will kick off staff core value recognition innovation.
And our core values are listed. We have 6 core values: integrity, student-centered, innovation, excellence, empowerment, and respect. And this month, we are recognizing a team member who demonstrates the core value innovation, where we promote and celebrate the creativity and curiosity that speaks the learning and growth in all of us. And the staff member that is being recognized is our art teacher, Allison Phillip. She is an art teacher at Bellhaven Elementary School, and she's here with us tonight. Yes, so Michelle Masuda recommended Allison Phillip and states, "Not all art teachers are the same. I believe Allie Phillip is one of the most innovative teachers we have on campus. She allows students to be creative in their own ways while participating in her art classes. Ms. Phillip does her best to take what students are learning with their general education teacher and expand on them in her art class. When thinking about how she sparks curiosity, students are eager to learn more about their projects. Students who have been through her art program have been given the opportunity to learn about clay, sewing machines, stop motion microphones to voice over their movies, paper mache, making their own musical instruments from our garden, our gourd garden. Sorry, I do not have my glasses on. Hold on. Let me make it bigger. They learn art. They learn that art is everywhere and can be done anywhere. Ms. Phillip also celebrates all student work from TK through 5th grade. She loves to show off student artwork in the office around her classroom. Pre-COVID, she always welcomed families to participate in art projects such as sugar skulls and holiday events. She made sure there was always an art activity for all family events. It is evident that Ms. Phillip loves working with our students, and I want to recognize her for all of her dedication. Michelle Masuda Lee, principal at Bellhaven Elementary. And we have Ms. Phillip. Ms. Phillip, do you mind coming to the mic really quick? So also, I'm not sure if you saw the board or the newsletter this week or our social posting, but she was the one behind helping us celebrate the Lunar New Year and had the tigers and the dragons that were made by students. And so it was quite phenomenal. But Ms. Phillips, yes, any words?
No words. Thank you.
Really appreciate all that you do and bringing and surfacing skills in our students that we don't always get to see and helping us help them connect to school.
You're welcome. I love the kiddos.
Thank you. Yes, please. Is that okay?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stuart Shirishi. I'm the vice principal of Bellhaven. So I just wanted to echo the words of Michelle and just say that many nights, as I'm walking out the door, Allie is still there working. countless hours to get the projects ready for the kids. She goes home, she works at home. I'm sure Dan can tell you, right? She is constantly working to enrich the lives of our children. She just goes above and beyond every single day. I love going into her class. I try to get in there as much as I can to see what the kids are doing. They're always just having a blast, and they're creating incredible things. So she is doing a wonderful, wonderful job.
Sorry, really quick. We have speaker slips right there. So if you fill out the slip, then you can also talk. But if you, yeah. She can come straight.
Just real quick, I didn't even know this was happening, but Ali after school today was helping me plan this amazing lesson around soap and fractions and making it really visual for the kids, and just so cool to see her represented and celebrated here tonight as a result of just getting to spend some time this afternoon with her outside of hours for her. So thank you. Thank you for recognizing her. Appreciate it. My name's Paige. Nice to meet you.
Paige is also a fourth grade. She's a fourth grade teacher at Belhaven.
Through the chair. I also want to recognize that when I go by Belhaven campus, since I live near the school, I'm always fascinated watching those gourds growing. And I really want to see what you do with them. All I've seen are giant gourds in the garden. So I really want to come by and check it out sometime. But I again can echo what Mr. Shirishi said, in that the creativity that I see on campus, especially when I saw how you worked with Paige on a project between the two classrooms around the soccer. I would just want to applaud again the creativity and collaboration that is happening at our schools across the district. And congratulations, Allie.
Wonderful. Now we will move on to item, unless we have any additional comments on the floor. See none. We will move on to item 8B, which is the consideration to approve the proclamation / resolution 2021-2022-11, recognizing February 1st to March 1st, 2022 as Black History Month in the Ravenswood City School District.
Through the chair, I have a question. Do the individuals who get recognized, do they get a certificate or anything?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They receive a certificate.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Sorry. Because I'm just thinking about this next recognition and, you know.
And a mug.
And a mug.
And a
And a mug.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
A coffee mug.
So we have to make a motion before reading the
Yes.
proclamation. So trustee Shiboming, I don't know if you want to have the
Sure, I'll
honor.
I will
Right there.
entertain a motion.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 8B, the proclamation resolution 2021-2022-11, recognizing February 1st. I know, I'm reading it all. It's Black History Month. I second that.
Can we read the proclamation?
So with your permission, trustee Alexander, thank you, as the clerk. All right, and I'm reading the whole thing, I imagine, yes? Okay. Proclamation Resolution Number 2021/2022-11, recognizing February 1st, 2022 through March 1st, 2022 as Black History Month in the Ravenswood City School District. Whereas Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements of African Americans and a time for recognizing the central role of African Americans in U.S. history. And whereas this year's theme of Black Health and Wellness is set every year by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, an organization founded in 1915 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the famed African American historian known as the father of Black history. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas Black History Month is significant as we reflect on this historic on the historic protests of 2020 surrounding Black Lives Matter, especially in memory of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and many others. And whereas in May 2021, the Ravenswood City School District created our anti-racist statement, acknowledging that racism has an inherent and permanent impact on our students' lives. We actively work to systematically dismantle the racist structures and practices in our schools. And whereas Black History Month is also an occasion to commemorate the countless contributions of African Americans, many of whom lived through and surmounted the scourge of segregation, racial prejudice, and discrimination to enrich every fiber of American life. And whereas Ravenswood City School District continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Ravenswood City School District does hereby proclaim February as Black History Month and encourages all residents and visitors alike to join us in celebrating this special month.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Now we will move on to item number 9, which is from Human Resources. And we swapped item A and B, so we will start with the consideration to approve the MOU between RCSD and CSEA.
Thank you, Board President. Tony Stone, Director of Human Resources. The item before you tonight is an agreement between CSEA and the district to reopen Article 7 professional growth for the current year negotiations. And in order to do that, we need to amend the bargaining agreement. That's what this MOU addresses.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? As I see none, I will entertain a motion for item 9B.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 9B.
I'll second that.
Well, yeah, okay. Just want to make sure it's clear because which one's A and which one's
Go ahead.
B. So I'm saying 9B, the consideration to approve the MOU between Ravenswood City School District and the California School Employees Association.
Thank you.
Yep. Give me a second.
And then I have
I'll still second it.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Now
Through the chair, can I just say that I'm really happy to see this come forth. The opportunity to include a critical component such as professional growth, I think is such a value add to our CSEA classified team. And I'm just happy to see this come before us. And I hope this shows them the interest we have in investing into them growing within Ravenswood. So thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move on to item number 9A, which is the consideration to adopt the Ravenswood City School District initial proposal to California School Employees Association.
Thank you. This item is our initial proposal on behalf of the district to begin bargaining on Article 7, professional growth, the article that was just reopened by the MOU. The district has an interest in improving professional growth benefits for employees, including stronger professional development and a clear career progression.
Do you have any questions or comments from the board? As I see none, I will entertain a motion for item 9A.
I'll make a motion for item 9A, consideration to adopt our CSD's initial proposal with CSEA.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Now we will move on to item number 10, which is from the business department. We have an update on bond finances.
Good evening, trustees. I'd like to introduce Shin Green from East Shore Consulting. Shin has been working with the district for quite some time now on a variety of financial aspects of the district. He has led a lot of the work on managing the bond finances, and we're sort of pleased to report some of those results from his work tonight. Most notably, sort of the top line story here is we plan on paying back the debt from Measure S and Measure H 9 years early and at a savings of $20 million for our community. As the board considers approaching another bond for this sort of cycle, we think it's important for the community to understand how effective we've been in managing the community's debt over the last few years. Without further ado, I'll kick it over to Shin to talk through some details.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be back before the board again. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to see any of you in person. With that being said, we are here tonight to provide an update on sort of where the general obligation bond program is, specifically the most recent measures, measures H and S approved in 2016 and 18 respectively. And I'll just jump right into this proposal this presentation very quickly. What you see here on the screen at this moment is a listing of all the outstanding bonds of the Ravenswood City School District. These include bonds which were approved prior to 2016 through measures in 1996 and 2000, of which there is actually only one remaining bond that stays outstanding at this time from those old authorizations. And more importantly, if you look at that, you will see the final maturity is 8/1 of 2022. Which means that with this tax cycle here that we're currently in this current fiscal year, this bond is effectively repaid and that tax will be dropping off of the roll going forward. So when we talk about bonds, you know, it has to do with facilities, and these are facility restricted funding mechanisms. In addition to your day-to-day operations and sort of educating students, you also have the responsibility for maintenance of schools and facilities that are shared oftentimes with the broader community. And because those facilities are constructed to very high standards, the cost to build and maintain those campuses are oftentimes multiples of your annual operating budgets. It's for that reason that we oftentimes look toward bonds. And really, it's for construction and maintenance, again, of facilities, and oftentimes takes outside resources such as state aid and financing options such as bonds to ensure that you have modern classrooms available for all your students. The common the most common financing mechanism that we find used for school facilities is the general obligation, or GO bond as it's called. And GO bonds require authorization from voters to impose a annual property tax rather on all the taxable property within the district that can be leveraged to issue debt and provide upfront funding for school facilities. Depending upon the specific code sections under which the GO bonds are authorized, there are limits on maximum tax rates and repayment ratios and other transparency requirements. We do encourage you to look at the work of the Bond Oversight Committee to see some of those transparency reports that have been done for the recent measures H and S. Typically, voters approve a maximum debt amount for a school district GO bond, and then it is assessed it's usually accessed through the issuance of multiple series, the total of which cannot exceed the amount that was approved by your voters. So really, your voters approve an amount, authorize a tax, and that's how we have these bonds paid off over time to fund your facility construction and improvement requirements today. Looking here, you'll see a summary of all of your authorizations, including the two that predate 2016. First being Measure U, which received very stellar approval in the high mid 80% range. Measure C in 2000 received also about 86% approval. And in combination, they authorized about $16 million in general obligation bonds. You'll see that there's no authorization remaining for either of them. They've all been used in their totality. And again, I would note that they are paid off after this year. Below that, you'll see the two more recent measures, measures H and S. And measure H and S are your two sort of active bond measures, which will continue to have taxes levied for the foreseeable future. Measure H was warm, safe, and dry, and approved $26 million for really critical infrastructure improvements to kind of repair and maintain schools and make sure that back in 2016, we didn't continue any sort of deterioration due to leaky roofs or other situations that were going on in certain campuses. Measure S was more focused on building new infrastructure and updating the school sites, not just the middle school, but all of your campuses, and provided about $70 million, of which 50 has been issued. And we anticipate that another 20 million will be issued before the end of this fiscal year. So since 2016, the district has refinanced all of its prior obligations, and that did provide some savings to taxpayers. And again, I would note we are on the precipice of that old authorization being fully repaid. But we have had some very robust tax-based growth since 2016, and we'll look at some charts on that, as well as a persistent low interest rate environment that has really allowed us to outperform the estimates we provided to voters back in 2016 and 18 for measures S and H, and really resulted in a lower cost of funds and a lower cost to your taxpayers. So looking at this chart here, you will see your assessed valuation growth, and it's quite the remarkable chart. We start just in the kind of tail end of the Great Recession. You'll see those negative growth factors there, which in 2014 ceased, and you went back to positive growth of your tax base. This is the base on which the tax is levied to repay these bonds. You'll then see some very strong growth. This is very unique. We do not see this in many communities up and down the state, even master plan subdivision communities where we're putting in significant new housing tracts. Typically do not see mid to high teens, let alone above 20% growth. For a couple of years there, you guys were growing at 24% per year. And that rapid tax-based growth is part of the reason why we've been able to do so much better than anticipated. In addition to that, you'll see below that a kind of historical chart of interest rates. And those blue bars you see are the range of sort of interest rates between 93 and current. Where you see at the very bottom there, that line is sort of where tax or interest rates are at this current time. We are kind of hovering very close to the lows. And yes, in the last few weeks, we have seen rates begin to move back up. And if you want to know what kind of average is since 1993, that's that blue line up above. So we're still significantly below the interest rates that we would have anticipated when we initially designed these programs, and we're looking at sort of the average kind of historical rate levels. In terms of your existing GO bond programs, there are two that are outstanding at this time, Measure S and H. We have been able to make the repayments on those more rapid. By doing that, we've also been able to reduce the duration of the repayments, taking a few years of anticipated tax payments off the table by using shorter term bonds that also carry a lower cost. All these things in the mix are sort of compounding benefits, and those benefits are essentially seen through the tax rates, which you'll see a chart of below. We've been able to issue debt at lower cost than projected and at lower tax rates. I will show you the prior ones, and you'll see that the tax rate for the prior bonds, that's your 96 and 2000 authorizations in combination, is down to $6 this year, and that is the last year of that tax. You'll see the 2016 and 2018 in the middle two columns there. Both of those measures were approved with an estimated tax rate of $30 per 100,000 of assessed value or taxable value. That's not market value, but the value used by the assessor, auditor, controller to determine the tax rates. And you will see that we've never been even at that $30 rate for the 2016 election. Today, the rate on the 2016 election stands at about $15, about half of what we had indicated to voters. With respect to the election of 2018, you'll see we did start off at the $30 rate. We did drop down pretty rapidly. You'll see that $8 rate there. That really is a function of us sort of taking a year longer to kind of get the planning in order for the middle school and make sure that everything was kind of settled for that design. And we did issue the bonds in the subsequent year, which brought the rate back up to $16. We do anticipate that we'll get close to the $30 rate with the issuance of the final $20 million for a few years, but we are continuing to use relatively conservative growth assumptions. Our assumptions going forward are generally no more than 5% a year for tax-based growth. And you'll see in your history, if you look back on those prior slides, we've been above that in all but just the most recent current year. And we're also aware of significant development that will be coming within the community that will again begin to make that tax base grow a little faster. So looking at these things graphically, let's look at Measure H first. Measure H is done. All of the bonds are issued. There's nothing more to do there. This is locked into place until such time as perhaps we have an opportunity to refinance the existing bonds. But that red line you see up on top is sort of where we projected a $30 tax rate would be over time. We are significantly below that. And you'll see that we have a step down toward the end. Realistically, when we refinance, we'll be able to probably pull one or two of those years in and even shorten it more at the time of refinance. Anyone's interested as to what interest rate levels were at the time, we do provide that information off to the side as well as repayment ratios. But I'm very proud to announce that there's no more than 60 cents of interest per $1 borrowed on Measure H. The sort of normal standard would be sort of a 2 to 1, and we're certainly well below that. In combination, these are factors that are the good tax-based growth in the low interest rate environment. So all those bonds were issued, and they were issued at low interest rates, and we saved a bunch of money for the community. With respect to the tax rates overall, we'll take a look at Measure H here Measure S here in a moment. We gave estimates to voters of total repayment estimates to voters of $44 million and change. At this point in time, we have total repayments that will come in 2 years shorter than anticipated, with a total cost of about $40.6 million. That's a $3.5 million savings as compared to what estimates that were provided to voters. Measure S was planned in 2018 with knowledge of a stronger tax-based growth profile, and then lower interest rate environment. And so we were able to be a little more aggressive and fill that line in at that time, which does have slightly higher tax rates as a result. But that being said, while we do have 20 million remaining to issue, we are projecting at this time, sort of based on what we have in the markets today, that the total cost will be approximately $110 million with regard to Measure S, and it will terminate in 2041. In terms of what we told voters back when this was originally being considered, many of the informational materials provided for the Measure S election, the total cost was estimated at $126.6 million, with a final repayment in 2050. So that is the 9 years that Will often speaks about that we've been able to knock off. I would also note that based upon the structure that we have for your existing bonds, you see that here on this chart, the blue is our first series, the green is our second series, and the orange is our anticipated third series. We will not be extending the term with this final issuance. We believe we can fit all that 20 million and the repayments for it within the same term or less than the term that's already in place for Measure S. And that will probably also mean that those last couple of years, we might be able to shorten when a refinancing opportunity occurs as well, and then save additional money. So in total, repayments are projected to be some $19.2 million less than expected, with a total of 6 years kind of removed in various places from the overall repayment requirements. And in combination, the rates for Measure H and S have never exceeded 75% of the projected tax rate. These are all sort of great feathers in your cap and just show that our conservative planning was maybe even a little too conservative, but we don't want to overestimate the tax-based growth and end up having rates go higher than anticipated. So we've been able to keep our promises to voters throughout. Just to summarize here in closing, the district has commenced this whole process back in 2014 for the latest two measures with the Facility Master Plan, or FMP, that really identified and began prioritizing the needs. And while the total cost was well beyond what was available to the district in terms of resources in 2016, after over 15 years from the last GEO bond being sought, we were able to embark on and address some critical repairs and improve the facilities. In 2018, the district took that next step and was able to improve its schools to meet the expectations of the community, really by enhancing the educational opportunities for all students. Really the fortuitous interest rate environment and the realization of the East Palo Alto sort of development potential have combined to really create an environment where we've been able to considerably outperform the estimates provided on Measure S and H. The next phase will be the RMS construction and modernization of all the other campuses, and that should be commencing here over this summer, and some of it's already underway. And the district is poised to address a significant portion of the original FMP with that completion of those projects. We are also updating that vision to match the latest and greatest realities of the schools. Back in 2016 and 18, we had no ideas about pandemics and other things. So there are some additional considerations that we're looking at. But we are very proud to have been able to assist the district in meeting and actually beating the expectations, and encourage the district to continue to publicize this highly successful effort with respect to its facilities as you move toward world-class classrooms for every student served. With that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain them. I will show you a list here of your tax rates in the area. Your tax rate is at $36.90 combined. We do provide some comparable districts in the area. I would note at the very bottom, we show you also Sequoia Union High School District's tax rate. Sequoia High School District overlaps most of the district that you see that are elementary districts that feed into it up above. But you guys are by no means at the higher end. You're actually on the lower end of sort of the elementary school district tax rates at this time. And in terms of what's next, we are initiating the process for the issuance of the full final balance of Measure S. Anticipate bringing documents back to the board for that authorization in March, including a resolution. We are also contemplating placing another measure on the June ballot, And when combined with state aid and other resources, should put Ravenswood in a position to complete most of the vision that was initiated in 2015. There are some compliance things that will be taken care of in the next few months for your bonds. But beyond that, really, that is the summary. Any questions?
Thank you for that report. Do we have any questions from the board? Comments?
Through the chair. No questions, but thank you very much for this presentation and for us as a board and also for the community to know that Ravenswood has been using their bond funds and we are updating our facilities and we are continuing that process. And I look forward to seeing the resolution for what's going to go on the June election, just for our community to also know we want to continue to move forward into, you know, re-energizing and bringing all of our classrooms and all of our campuses into the modern era. I'm really excited for that because I know that so much work has already been done at RMS and we see that and we've gotten to be a part of that. We've seen the new classrooms. And I'm just excited to continue to see this work move forward. So thank you so much. And I also just want to remind the community and us too that all of this is also online, right? And we can see how we've been using our bond funds and the community can go and see how we've been using our bond funds, not only on our campuses, but also on the website. You can see how all of that money has been spent. So thank you.
CCRMS. CCRMS.
Just CCRMS.
CCRMS.
Yes.
Yes. I've used the
Do
abbreviation.
you have any other comments, questions? As I see none, thank you so much. We will move on to number 11 from the superintendent's office. We have a COVID update.
This should be short and brief. Thank you. Some good news here as we are passing the surge for the Omicron. The COVID cases are dropping after early January surge. You can see each bar is color coded and represents a school and our central office. And you can see that we went from 120 our second week after winter break, and we're now down to 31 cases on campus. If you guys don't mind changing the slide, that's. So during the surge, we quickly ramped up testing to catch cases early before they could spread on campus. And so we continued working with Bay PLS, who continued with the weekly screening and response testing. We were excited to be able to distribute over 2,000 at-home antigen tests by mid-January. And our Student Services Director, Cindy Chin, has worked and connected with Stanford Office of Child Health Equity and Stanford Healthcare, who donated more than 2,000 at-home tests this week, and that we will be distributing them to our schools. Actually, I think they're already at the schools and they will be distributing them. And then in partnership with REF has hired part-time COVID testers to support with daily response, creating some lift off of the plates of our administrators and team members, certificated and CSA, from having to do some testing. And then, considering that we are going to be on a 4-day weekend break in February, we are off on February 22nd. So on that 4th day that we are off, we are going to be encouraging families to come and get tested with their children and staff, even if they are around, so that we can catch anybody who might be COVID positive. We also have partnered with the county and the city of EPA to hold and promote vaccination clinics. And we are pleased that, we were able to vaccinate 258 children earlier this January. And then we also vaccinated additional 203 individuals, kids, and those who were eligible for boosters just last week. And the city of EPA sent over 4,500 mailers to residents to advertise about the clinics. And they even provided some incentives like gift cards after they received their second dose. We are going to be hosting a clinic at Los Robles Ronald McNair Academy next Tuesday, February 15th, for those who are eligible for their first, second, and booster, and those children who are 5 years old and older. So as you know, California will be lifting up their mandate for indoor masking. However, we will continue to require masks indoors, and we are also going to be distributing high quality masks to staff and students. San Mateo County has already provided masks, N95 masks for staff. And we not only have ordered N95 masks, KN95 masks for children, but the county is also has a limited supply that we will be able to access. And then we, of course, have the surgical type mask available for staff and students. That's the conclusion.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Wonderful. We will continue on. Thank you for that update. And now we will go to number 12, Board of Trustees.
Actually, there's one more item, 11B.
Oh, going back to 11B. Sorry, jumped ahead, everyone. Communications update.
Right, so I just wanted to let the board know that we as a Ravenswood, and I've heard it from all of our trustees, that we want to define our own narrative by showcasing our own students and families through their own stories, experiences, and successes. We will be using our students and families' narratives to launch our Choose Ravenswood campaign. And we want their voices, their experiences to be a highlight on our district website and other promotional mediums for current students, families, and team members to not only celebrate, but to encourage others to join, future team members and future students. And so over this past weekend, Hans Smith and Ann Waterman Roy and I collected some stories from family, staff, and a trustee across all of our schools. And there is going to be a video, I believe, short video. It's more of a trailer to give you a feel. You might see a familiar face. And it's just a sample of what's to come when we want to make sure we are the ones who are in control of our narrative and our success.
My name is Demi Sienna, and I have two children attending Ravenswood School District. One is in 8th grade here at Ravenswood Middle School, and one is in Castania.
My name is Jed Bloom. I am a parent of 2 Ravenswood.
My name is Jenny Bloom. I am a parent of 2 students at Los Robles and at Castaño. I am also a board member on the Ravenswood City School District.
My name is Guadalupe Maciel. I am the administrative assistant here at Belhaven, and also I am a parent of a first grader here at Belhaven.
My name is Sarah Tao. Well, Mrs. Baca now, but known in the neighborhood as Tao. I've grown up here in East Palo Alto since the 80s. I've also been a student of Ravenswood City School District, as well as my older siblings and cousins. So really, I mean, I've seen it all the changes, and just happy to be here.
I think the school chose me. The school chose me. I just want to be part of a situation where I can perhaps add value, or maybe my value is being seen. So that's the reason why I chose Ravenswood.
I like it here. I like the community. I grew up here. So I want my child to grow up here.
It's been great. Liliana and Obi both enjoy school a great deal. Obi really likes school. You know, he likes it's a fun, safe place for him to be.
I think that Ravenswood and the schools have done a really good job to make sure that our kids are learning and enjoying it and staying safe. And then they love going to school too.
And we wanted to build roots here because our life now, we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't it's Palo Alto. So that's why we came back. Now with my younger two, I have one who's currently in kindergarten, one in preschool that's going to be coming here at Castaño next year for TK. They're just very excited about the specials programs that they're a part of every day. I hear about art, I hear about Miss Brown, and I hear about music, but you hear a lot about their experiences in the specials and in the arts program. And so, I'm very grateful.
So it's just the beginning. There's a lot of clips that were collected along with Spanish-speaking families as well. We just actually literally did it this weekend. So we just wanted to make sure the trustees got a feel of the work that we're doing. This is also reflective of us wanting to make sure that we're collecting beyond just numeric value of what we're doing here in Ravenswood, but we actually feel here the progress that's being made.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
To the chair. So how do we, when we have the whole campaign, communication campaign developed and finalized, what is the form of distribution of these materials?
So part of what we want to do is, if you go to our website right now, it says about Ravenswood home, about Ravenswood student and families, staff. We actually want on that ribbon, choose Ravenswood. And instead of just having stills, numbers, we actually want people, without actually visiting the site, they can actually get a sense of the community and the cultural wealth and the joy that people are experiencing in Ravenswood. And so we'll have that on our website, along with links to enroll their children, along with the link to join our team. And then we also want to be able to have subsequent social media posts, and then also include these in newsletters. So one of the things that I've learned is we need to go beyond just our Ravenswood families, but also send the messaging out to all the residents that live in the neighborhoods. And so we'll actually be getting some contact and lists to be able to distribute the good work in Ravenswood beyond just our current student enrollment and families.
So my suggestion is, when I think about the website, when I think about the newsletter, when I think about even our social media, it's already an audience we have captured mostly. So I think that a campaign of Choose Ravenswood really needs to be able to reach the families we're not connecting with currently, right? The families that are currently not choosing Ravenswood for whatever reason. And I would suggest exploring with the foundation to get money to spend on advertising first through social media, so commercials can come up through Facebook, through Instagram for our area code of Belhaven and East Palo Alto, and get the stories into the hands and eyes of individuals who are not visiting our website, who are not getting our newsletters, or are not just tuning in. Majority of people right now are connected to some sort of social media outlet. And I think the best way to make this have more significant reach and impact is by buying commercial ads in social media. And if that is something that the foundation can help us with, that would be great. You probably would have to trim this down to bites that are, digestible and people don't want to tap out. So I would clean this up significantly. But overall, I'm happy that we are getting, Ravenswood to talk about Ravens, especially parents, right? Because at the end of the day, I think, obviously staff is going to be like, it's great to be here and so is the board, but it's really that parent experience that makes the difference and saying, I love it here. My student loves it here. I've had a great experience. To tell another parent that, I think goes a really long way. So I really hope we go beyond the traditional methods of making this material available and take that extra step so that it has a reach that is going to hopefully give us a return on our investment. So that would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? I see none. Let's move on to item number 12B. The consideration to vote for up to 3 candidates to the CSBA's Delegate Assembly Subregion 5B, San Mateo County.
So we just vote and give it to you?
Yes, through the chair, if you
You
don't
just
mind
vote it.
taking your vote, and then the board president would collect, and then we'll tally and report out.
Okay, and we don't have to report on
Bronwyn,
today,
can you
right?
pass mine down?
We don't?
You do.
I do. So we will take this time for the votes. Yeah, that's fine too. Or do I just tell them? So as this can't be a secret ballot, I will announce the votes. Trustee myself, I abstain. Trustee Shabomaheen, abstain. Trustee Bronwyn, Noelia Corzo, Clayton Koo, Sophia Lane. Trustee Bloom, Noelia Corzo, Clayton Koo, Sophia Lane. Trustee Polito, Noelia Corzo, Clayton Koo. So our votes are for Noelia Corzo and Clayton Koo.
You have to vote up to 3.
And then
You have to vote for 3.
up to.
Right. So why wouldn't you put the second runner on?
2 of them have 3 votes, 1 has 2.
Oh, it has to be unanimous? I don't think that it does, but I thought they said 2.
You can have up to 3 votes in regards to whether or not they're unanimous. I am not quite sure about that. But
Yeah, I
would
don't think it
imagine-
does. I mean, I don't mind. I didn't vote for a third person, but.
Yes.
Yeah, so right now it's just.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Wonderful. Moving on. Now we will go to item 12D, which is board reports. Do we have any reports from the board?
Reports. Through the chair, I don't have a board report, but I was supposed to be absent today and my plans were abruptly modified. So I'm here, but I'll keep the board president apprised of the next 2 board meetings. I might have to miss one of those because I have to reschedule. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Wonderful. Moving forward. So for the next item, we moved item 6 to this slot. So item 6 is the consideration to adopt a resolution finding that COVID-19 pandemic state.
Sorry, did you do board policies?
No, not yet.
12C.
My bad. Going back. 12C, board policy and regulation revisions for second reading and action. Oh, and action. I missed that part. BP 0420.42. Questions, comments?
Yes. Yes, and each lead in each department has reviewed. We provided comment and direction.
Any other questions or comments? See none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 12C, board policy and regulation revisions for the second reading and action BP 0420.42.
And beyond. And they're
And
all
beyond.
Beyond.
And beyond.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 6. So the consideration to adopt a resolution finding that COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency presents imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees that is continually. So basically, this resolution is in the case that for some reason we have board members that might be in quarantine or might not be able to attend the meeting. And for risk of not having quorum, this is so that we would be able to adjust the meeting online if necessary. Do we have any questions or comments for the board? I will entertain a motion for item number 6.
Through the chair, I move to approve item 12E, which is a consideration to adopt a resolution that the COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency presents imminent risk and so forth.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor say
Do you need
aye.
to read this?
Ooh, yeah, I have to read it though.
I started to.
Trustee Alexander?
So, resolution number 2021-2022-12, resolution finding that as a result of the continuing COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency, et cetera, et cetera.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Through the chair, is there leeway for, so we post the agenda Friday, Monday, the latest, but if this is related to the pandemic and let's say someone feels sick on Wednesday, they can still be remote, even though they didn't meet the deadline. That's what this is for. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was
Correct.
the flexibility that we were adding, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do this
Correct.
like we normally do. So you might not see it on the agenda is the point, but
Correct.
it might pop up. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because we also wouldn't have to post the address that their local meeting.
That is correct. We
Okay.
do not want people going to a home with somebody who is COVID positive.
Got it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So our next item, the next regular board meeting will be held on February 24, 2022 at 6:30 PM. Open session will be at 7:15 PM. And I will adjourn the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting of February 10th at 9:07 PM. Thank you.